Kristina Karlsson, kikki.K, a brand that your creative genius went into. What is the sort of vision and dream life of travel in your eyes around the corner?
I wrote down a few dreams and then I made them all happen, and then my life completely changed. I could never have dreamt big enough. It had such a profound impact on my life, and she was a Qantas flight attendant.
332,000 Qantas points get you a return business class flight to Europe.
Flying business class is obviously a much nicer way, but I was looking forward to the trip as much as I was looking forward to the destination.
Yeah.
Well, here we are back on the Always Business Class podcast with Steve and Steve squared, 1 + 1 = 10, and the incredible Kristina Karlsson. I've known Kristina for how many years now? Maybe 4 or 5 years coming up now.
Sure. Yeah.
And obviously everyone knows the backstory around the incredible company that you created with kikki.K, a global amazing stationery brand that your creative genius went into. But we really want to focus on this next chapter of reimagination and this dream life that you're bringing to hopefully 101 million people around the world. So today's all going to be about reimagination, travel experiences, points with myself and Steve. So I kind of just want to talk about very briefly kikki.K and what happened next, and how did you kind of shift from oh my to oh wow, I'm excited about this next chapter.
First, I just want to say thank you for having me. I couldn't think of a better topic than talk about travel, work, and combining that. So I'm very excited to be here. So when I lost my business, I quickly decided I was not going to go down with the business. I was going to dream again and start again. And I think, as you guys know, as entrepreneurs, if we've done it once, we can do it many times. And that was kind of my philosophy. And although kikki.K was my nickname, so that was a little bit of an identity crisis there for a while to work out what's next. But during this time when I had kikki.K, I wrote a book, Your Dream Life Starts Here. And then I started my own podcast, which is also called Your Dream Life. So I kind of started that journey alongside kikki.K, all about helping people living their dream life. So it was a natural step for me, but it didn't mean that came overnight. It was something that I thought about while I was navigating the craziness that comes with losing a business.
Mm. And if losing your business, did it really just take you back to the bare minimum of what is it that you wanted to do, the building blocks of your values about what you want to do, helping people?
Yeah.
Is that what led to where you're now?
Yeah, I think that started a little bit before, because I had this realization one day when I came up with my book, that when I wrote down a few dreams many, many years ago before kikki.K, it completely changed my life. Because I didn't know, when I came to Australia, I had no idea what to do with my life. And I was really lost, and I was complaining a lot, and I just didn't know what to do. So I wrote down a few dreams, and then I made them all happen, and then my life completely changed. I could never have dreamt big enough. And then I realized I could help other people doing that, because so many people that I meet are really lost and perhaps not on the right path. I meet a lot of clever people who are on a career path, and that might not have been their chosen path. It might have been their parents or teachers or really good at something. And then they realize that this is actually the wrong path for me. And that's where I want to help people, because there's so many brilliant people out there that could actually start their own business and then combine the freedom of having your own business to work whenever you want, wherever you want, with whoever you want. And that's what I want to do now. I had a really big business in my eyes. It was came from nothing up to 120 stores in 5 countries. So that was a lot of work and a lot of complicated ways of doing business. Now it's so different. So I feel like I kind of had the foundations, but the new direction is just so me. I can now work from whenever I want, and I can travel, and that's what I want to help other people do now.
Which is why I'm actually so inspired by you. It actually reminds me back to when I got my redundancy from Macquarie Bank.
Yeah.
Because actually, a lot of the times you just get on with it.
Yeah.
So you go down this path, you just sort of get on with it, day to day,
Yeah.
year to year,
And we
you
are
realise,
we have such a full lives that we don't actually take the time.
might not have been what you always wanted.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
And I suppose just going back to, what was that moment that you're like, I'm going to the other side of the world in Australia from Sweden?
Oh, that was quite. It was exciting. But
Economy, probably back those days.
What was that?
Economy back in those days from Sweden.
Yes, absolutely economy.
Yeah.
But also, I didn't know, like, this is before internet. I know it's really hard for people listening that there was a life before internet, but this is when internet kind of just started, and I spent almost all my money on phone bills back to Sweden because I was really missing my family and my friends. And also back then, now I feel like the world is really connected. You can be anywhere and still be connected with your family and your friends, versus back then I just felt I was really homesick. So that was definitely, it was an exciting step, but it was also a difficult step. But now I love living here. I also love living in Sweden. So my dream now is to really do half, but while the kids are growing up.
Met some of your amazing Swedish friends as well, and their beautiful culture. I can't wait to get and experience more of Scandinavia. So being able to get back each year, and let's double click on a few business class stories. So, and I'm sure you've got a few of them in regards to looking after 5 countries and 120 stores. What are some of those moments that you've that you can bring forward into the snapshot right now of those business class experiences? What the conversation going left for the first time? Yeah, I see you just got lit up then too.
It was funny because I was running a breakfast series last year. So I invited people who wants to come have breakfast with me in different cities around Australia. And there was this lady who came with a little gift and with a Chanel bag, like not a like a shopping bag, not a handbag. Just to clarify.
Nice
right.
Come to me.
Because they're like, what? So a shopping bag, and she said, it's for you. And I said, no, you don't. No, you don't have to give me gifts. And she said, you had such a profound impact on my life and she was a Qantas flight attendant. And she saw me on a flight where I was journaling the whole flight. And it was funny when I went to Antarctica with you guys, me and Sarah both were journaling. So for me, flying business class is obviously a much nicer way for obvious reasons. But I was looking forward to the trip as much as I was looking forward to the destination.
Yeah.
And what I loved so much was that I got so much done. So to Sweden is about 24 hours at least with layovers, and I was just so excited the whole trip, just working. Like I had my laptop and I had a journal, and I just got so many ideas. And I think that's the beauty of, if you are able to fly in a very comfortable way, then you're more likely to be able to think more freely and be more comfortable, and therefore.
And were your thoughts about business or about life, about family, or everything? It just really just gave you that peace and quiet time, just to be undistracted, and just think.
Yeah, and in the early days, I used to go with my laptop only, and for 24 hours basically clear my inbox, which was always overfilled with emails. And I remember my team dreading when I landed in Singapore,
all the emails would flood out
because my inbox was almost empty and theirs got full. It was very much an email-based culture that we had in the beginning because we were so global. But I still kind of do that. On the flight down here from Sydney today, I was like, I just could not wait to get my laptop out, but I have my journal next to me and I take all these ideas. So this is not just one thing. It's about family. It's about trips. About things that I want to do. It's it's an exciting part of living your dream life.
It's an interesting place because in the air versus on the ground, like in a way, you could set aside time on the ground to do this.
Yeah.
But when you're in the air, it's I'm not sure if it's the altitude. It makes your mind just go a little bit different wavelength, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe something you drank in business class, or potentially, or
Could be.
Yeah,
No.
could be.
But I think
No,
he's out.
Steve.
I think so.
No, I'm dry. Me and Kristina are dry.
Not for us non-drinkers, no.
Yeah, right. Steve, I want to double click. Obviously, we're all about making more points millionaires, and let's do some calculations in regards to making sure, as an example, getting back to Scandinavia each year. Like, let's unpack that a little bit in regards to what is it. And I think we just did an episode before in regards to the points calculations and the psychology of business class and expense versus investment. Let's just unpack that. I'd like to get back to Scandinavia.
Yeah, so it's really like a numbers game. So the fact that, for example, like say using Qantas points, 332,000 Qantas points get you a return business class flight to Europe. So we have all these people that their homelands are from Europe and they want to fly back. Some want to fly back once a year, multiple times a year. So it literally is a case of a story of how do you get these multiples of 332,000 points so you can then fly business class every time on repeat.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
And point stacking as well, right? So I think a lot of the time as business owners, we're like, oh, unless we can transact on credit cards, we're not getting points. But actually, there's lots of different ways in regards to...
Oh, yeah. You probably don't know that. You can actually earn points 3 times. You can triple dip on points.
I love that. I need to know how to do that.
So the idea is that if, say you had a $10,000 invoice, normally if you were just to pay that on your Amex card, you only earn points once, just on that $10,000 transaction.
Yeah.
But now when you combine that with a payment service, you can earn double points at the time of payment.
Yeah.
So you earn your Amex points and you earn these payment service points.
Yeah.
And then when it comes time to pay off your Amex card, you can earn points again.
Wow.
So therefore, if you only had, say, $10,000 for that bill for that month, you can earn triple dip. So therefore, that means that when I talk about earning 332,000 points, it's actually super easy to earn that on repeat now.
Yeah. I absolutely love that.
So you never fly economy. Well, actually, you don't fly economy anyway. So, but you never have to. Anyone has to fly.
So talking about that mindset shift of when you went to business class for the first time, and does this maybe start? Is this where your 3 a.m. journaling potentially started when you're up in the air?
No, so my 3M journal actually started before I could even think about business class. It started with me, being really unsettled one night, asking Paul, I think for the 5th time, what am I going to do with my life? And he was a bit over it. So he encouraged me to write down what was important to me. But on the flight, you can, I feel like once you get on that flight and you get yourself comfortable and you set everything up, like I love to have lots of pens and, I also read a lot. So I really look forward to 24 hours, and a lot of people don't. And it's funny because once the kids started to fly business as well, they were just so much looking forward to the trip because it was obviously so much more comfortable. And they were doing all the homework that they had to do while we were in Sweden, etc. And I remember meeting another family who was really dreading. We were flying from London back, and there was another family who was like really complaining. And Axel said to me, "I'm really looking forward to it." I said, "Yeah, it all depends a little bit on how you fly, because if you are in economy for 24 hours, that's much harder." And we done all of it, so I know the difference for sure.
As Steve says, right, it's you can kind of control the environment up the pointy nose, and then down the back it's
other people control your environment if you're flying at the back, because if someone decides that they don't want to go to sleep with the light on, that's nothing you can do about it. Whereas in the front you can control your environment. So I think that a lot of times people think about it's a seat, it's a flatbed. Of course, the flatbed is super important, but it's actually the ability to control your own pace.
Yeah,
that's what the difference is.
Yeah,
and that's why you have and your family have this perspective of looking forward to a flight. Yeah, which actually most people, like you said, they dread the flight. Yeah. So a complete different reframing of that 24 hours.
Yeah,
and this whole dream life, which we've actually been to one of your breakfasts, which I think are just incredible in regards to setting the day up for success as well. And I love breakfast. One, it's a sharing, it's a place to start journaling and meeting lots of great people. And I suppose that goes back in travel. And how is travel, especially over the last couple of years, and we've done some amazing experiences together, whether it was Antarctica or you didn't want to go on a cruise ship, I think it was, and we convinced you to go on 2 in the space of 30 days. How has travel really helped shape your amazing creativity, your families, and then this sort of rippling effect that you're having on so many people's lives through your podcast, your work, your journaling? How has it shifted?
Well, the difference between having the business that I had, kikki.K, and the business that I have now is that I have so much freedom. I can actually travel and work at the same time. So often a trip will include a talk. So often I get asked to talk somewhere, and then I will fly there, and then I'll make that as my little destination and trip. So it's a really exciting combination, I think, when you value. One of my highest value is travel, and my whole family's values are also travel. So we have always done that. And when I had the first business, I traveled a lot, but back then I felt like as soon as I landed somewhere, there was always meetings, lots of in-person. Often I would be, in Singapore or Hong Kong or London, and meetings back to Australia. And now I have a kind of a policy. We have a very small team that I don't do that anymore, because when I'm in a city, I want to be 100% present there with the people that I'm there for. And then I can, because my team is so little now, I don't really have to have those kind of meetings anymore. And that is just so exciting, because basically I can go somewhere for a very short amount of time and explore, and then get inspired, and also have some fun, eating some good food, always chasing the best coffee in that city. And it's such an incredible, that freedom of being able to work from anywhere is I value so much. And then if you can travel in style, it's even better.
Yep.
But it's just, I think now I love my previous business, and I never thought I could love another business more, but I love this business even more, because now I get to share I've got so much to share in terms of business success, but also business failure, and all the mistakes and all the learnings that I'm around that. And then I also get to coach, and I get to meet inspiring people. And now I don't only meet my team and that kind of part of the business. Now I meet inspiring speakers like you guys as well. So it's really, really exciting. I love it.
Because you'll be some of the rare people that actually get to experience the city. Yeah. A lot of people have been to multiple cities, but they haven't experienced it. They just touched the ground and left. So you actually explored the city. So you can actually truly say you've been there.
Yeah, absolutely. And even back in my old business, I used to take Axel since he was 4. He was a really easy child to travel with. So that was, I want to say that because it's not always easy to take a child when you travel, but he was an easy kid. He was like my PA, really. I made him work.
Is that why he's created the clothing brand? It runs in the DNA, right? Yeah.
Absolutely. And we had a couple of policies. So I took him out of school a lot, and I always questioned if that was a good idea. I am so glad now, looking back, that I did. But at the time, I was wondering if that was a good idea or not. But we had a couple of policies. He had to find out 5 facts about the city that we visited. So we went to London many, many times, because we had stores in London. And I spent a lot of time in London. And every time he came, he had to find out 5
new facts.
Yep. But he could not Google them. He had to ask people. And this is a funny story. So he used to go up and he's a very confident kid, because he was used to be my, introduced me on stages, etc.
Okay.
So he was very much like, that was very much from the beginning. So he got used to that. But it was so funny, because once I stayed at the same hotel in Covent Garden every time. And when I walked in on my own one day, they said, "Where's Axel?" And I said, "Oh, he stayed at home." He said, "Oh, we prepared for him." Oh. And I said, "What do you mean prepared for him?" And he said, "Yeah, the 5 facts." So he delegated it.
Oh, you found his secret.
It's so funny. I'm like, no, you need to. So I had this, you have to go and ask people, because that was also, part of education. And also when you ask someone versus just Google it, it's easier to remember. And then another thing is that we always find new coffee places, because I love coffee and I love food. And I always said to Axel, let's make the most, even if we were somewhere for 48 hours, let's eat at a good restaurant, let's find a good coffee. And sometimes we would take an Uber to the other part of the city just to kind of explore a new cafe or a new restaurant. And we also had another thing that we had to see the sunrise at least once each trip, because that got us up in the morning.
yes.
And he was very keen photographer, still is, but was definitely very much when he was younger. So I remember I would never have gone to, when we were in San Francisco once, I said to him, where are we going to see the sunrise? And he said, well, the best place is the Golden Gate Bridge. And I've been there, so I would never have done that. So we had so much adventure while working and combining family.
I love your policies.
I know we've got to make a little list off the back of this for
Kristina's
our
got the
listeners.
best policies.
It's too right. We've got to start
No,
adopting
and I
them.
want to say I'm not the perfect parent. It was just one thing that I always felt bad leaving the kids behind. So every time, and I travel a lot, and this is when the kids were little. It's easier now because they're not so dependent on me. But I used to, maybe 48 hours before, almost feel sick. I was like, oh, I don't want to go. And I wanted to go, but I didn't want to leave the kids. So it was always such a conflict. And Axel got to know my patterns. So he always said, I'll come. And it was one day where we were actually in Byron Bay on something. And so I was flying out of Brisbane. And he said to me, because I said, oh, I don't want to go. And it was a really short trip to Asia and then London. It was not a child-friendly trip. So if he was with me, I would make sure that we had a little bit of jet lag, not just go straight in. But we often did that anyway, because he was coping much more better than me, actually. But I remember him saying, I'll come. And I said, no, I didn't bring your passport. So he said, I'll fly to Melbourne. And then he flew to Singapore on his own. And I flew to Hong Kong, and then we met in Singapore. And
This is Axel.
This is Axel when he was maybe 8 or something like that.
Wow.
But I want to say, though, that he was so used to travel. So he was actually more nervous to take a bus, because when you go on a bus, you can actually, there's lots of people coming and you can go off anywhere. Versus when you fly, you make sure they go on the flight and someone will meet them. So it's very different. So I think.
As I'm looking at Axel's Instagram account for his golf, I see it all coming through in regards to delegating and trying to find someone to work the markets last weekend.
Yeah.
And I met Axel, and what an absolute legend, not only talented on the ground, but creating his own creative spark and living his dream life by the sounds of it through sport, and then also creating a clothing label. And then I just love how you do travel with the family. Like we've been able to witness it with Tiff coming along to some of our retreats and experience. And I think that is like a testament in regards to you. We always think as parents, like, pulling people out of school and that sort of stuff, but actually there's just so much learning and experiences that come from outside the classroom. And so when we were kind of looking at rituals, and you've kind of talked about some of those, and I feel like we should just create an Explorer list, and this kind of ties back into All Accor Plus and their Explorer membership. Do you know much about the Accor program at all?
Not much, but only what I've heard from you, actually, and Sarah.
Yeah, I think you've been to so many incredible cities and destinations, and me and Steve are kind of thinking about, like, what do we do in 72 hours when we go? So maybe if we can kind of unpack, excuse the pun, when you get to a destination, is what's some of those rituals that you probably just take for granted, but that you do when you get to a hotel, or how do you travel to the hotel? What does that look like, feel like?
So I love walking. So the first thing that I do especially if I go to another country, is just to go for a walk. And if it's morning, I would have researched the best coffee. So coffee for me is really important. So when I choose hotels, this is all depending on if I go there once off. But if I go to a place, so when I lived in Melbourne, I used to go to Sydney all the time. I stayed at the same hotel. I tried all the hotels. This is very much what I do. I try all the hotels that I think I'm going to love. And then if I'm going to go repeatedly, I then choose the best one. Mm-hmm. And it has to be close to a place for a good coffee. I feel like coffee to me, like I feel like I almost live for coffee. But for me, it's not just the coffee. It's kind of the ritual to go and sit somewhere, or go and grab a takeaway and go and sit by the water, or go for a walk. But I always like to see the sunrise. So if I depending on when I arrive, but if I sleep and then get up in the morning, I get up early. I love early mornings. So wherever I am,
quiet, isn't it?
Quiet, and seeing cities. Even I had a friend who was running in Paris the other day, and she was up really early, and it was empty. And I said, that's the best part, because you see all the buildings without all the tourists, and you get so much quicker to places if you are able to get up early. And also, I think it's something really magical about mornings. And I remember getting up in Copenhagen at 4 a.m. We were flying really quite early, and I remember those moments so much more than just the everyday moments.
It's like you own the city, because you're the only one out there exploring it.
Exactly. It's so nice. And if you find a good place that are open for coffee, and then you have that. And I always journal as well. So I would always, my luggage is never really about clothes. It's journals and books. So when I went to Bali once, me and Anna Karin, my girlfriend, we went to Bali, and I opened my suitcase, and she laughed because there was like maybe 30 books. It was such a heavy book
suitcase.
I've seen your library, Kristina. It is
and then
impressive.
some journals. But saying that, I unless it's for like a holiday like that where I can actually lie and read for we were away for 10 days or 14 days for a health retreat, so there was a lot of reading and journaling. Other than that, I rarely check in. I do luggage only.
Carry on
only.
Yes.
And people find that fascinating. But I've got so good at packing now, because I travel almost every week, and I do not like waiting. Like the other day, I actually had when we went to Noosa, I did bring lots of books because I was working from there. I actually had to wait, and I almost forgot my bag because I never ever wait for my bag. But if I go to Sweden and it's winter and stuff, I do check in. But most of the time I don't check in.
I'm interested in, what do you pack in your carry-on?
Always exercise gear. Runners is like my number one.
Yep.
And exercise gears. And then I always think, I'm not a fashion person, so it's black, it's boring, and but it's often layers, so I can
mix and match. Yep.
And I always feel like, even though sometimes I do miss some pieces, I always think I'd rather have books with me than I would have clothes. That's more important to me.
Shoes? How many pairs of shoes?
Max two.
Okay.
But often just one, because I think it's one of the best things that COVID brought to us. I think no one really cares so much about heels and things like that anymore. So now I wear sneakers most of the time, and also because I'm not, I don't promote any fashion or anything. I can easily just travel in jeans.
Because we can give Steve's fishing for some tips for Antarctica. Obviously, Antarctica, you came down 2 years, and you can only go with carry-on. So there's some tips.
Really?
Well, it's
that's a problem.
You're obviously going on seaborne. It's a little bit different to us, mate. But we still had a fantastic experience. But Antarctica, it's you travel light, but everything's on the.
I always bring carry-on because the luggage limit allows me to. I feel like I'm wasting 40 kilos. I'm not going to bring 40 kilos, but it feels like I'm wasting.
Funny side
limits.
note, we just walked around the corner with July's suitcase, and he's like, I got the wrong size. I got the medium instead of the large. So you had to go back and get the large business class perks.
I think that's pretty just my
No,
attributes.
don't think that. I like to travel light, and also if you don't check in and it's just change of planes or delayed,
easy.
You can just be so much. I'm impatient. I like to get out as quick as I possibly can, fresh air. I don't want to stand at airports.
Cool. So as a recap is walking when you land, when you get there.
Coffee.
Find a coffee place.
Journaling.
Sunrise.
Yeah.
Getting up early. Owning the city. Even on the days that you're about to leave, you would enjoy that.
Yeah.
And carry on.
Yeah.
Wow.
So tonight I'm actually flying to Brisbane. So I'm speaking here after this, and then I'm flying to Brisbane, and I'm speaking there tomorrow, and then tomorrow morning I'll be up early, and I will be doing exactly that. I'll be out walking. I know exactly where I'm going to have coffees, and and then I'm attending a lunch, and then I speak, and then I fly back.
I thought of a big good business idea actually. A coffee place that is also a hotel,
Yeah.
and then you can just stay there and
Well,
coffee.
most hotels have coffee, but not always.
the other
the
way
best.
around.
Yeah, the other way around.
Coffee's become such a culture, right? You hear
Yeah.
about those coffee parties now that are happening instead of, and you turn up at 10 o'clock in the morning and you have coffee and
It's like a rave.
have a dance around the place.
And the other thing that I love doing is always look at wellness spaces. So I love going to like a new yoga studio or a spa.
But
or
now you
something
don't
like
travel because you've found the best yoga place in Sydney, apparently.
I do, but I can't bring that with me. Well, I can actually because I do online. So when I was in Noosa, I did that. But it's more than just the yoga. Like when you travel on your own, it's like a community when you go to a yoga place or to a spa. But I am a introvert, so I like to spend time on my own. So I don't have any problem with that.
Recharge.
So what's the future of travel in your eyes? And obviously you've got so much of this dream life to live in front of you, and different milestones and chapters as a family, as in like Axel's now leaving school and Tiff's getting to the end, and like time flies. So
Yeah.
what is the sort of vision and dream life of travel in your eyes around the corner?
So I really want to become a really good speaker. That's kind of my dream, to become a good global
Talking about
speaker.
the next chapter, you're already a great speaker.
Well, thank you. But I feel like, I'm a little bit of a speaker by default. So I'm working on becoming a world-class speaker, and that requires a little bit of refinement. But it's practice. But my ideal future would be to speak around the world and then explore the world at the same time. So, for example, when I spoke in Bali, that you recommended me for Club Med, I did that. I ran a workshop for them and I did a keynote for them. And then one of my girlfriends flew over and we got a villa in Bali, and we just worked from that for a week. And I don't do a lot of that now because I have teenagers at home and I want to spend a lot of time at home, and I travel so much anyway. But once I feel like they have their own life, I want to do probably 6 months here, 6 months based in Sweden. So then I can speak in US and Europe and the UK without as bad jet lag as you get from here. And I like to run retreats. So my dream is to just travel and work and drink lots of good coffee and do a lot of yoga and walks and have fun.
Exploration is everything, right? And
Yeah.
we learned so much. And I think you've ticked off 6 continents. You got maybe one to talk on, which is Africa.
No, I got them all actually.
You got them all? You've
yeah.
ticked
talked
off.
in Africa?
Yeah, but
you go.
it's funny. It's funny because I had that in my. So I inspire people to dream really big and write down as much as you possibly can. But then I do have a top 10. These are dreams that I definitely want to make happen, because with all my dreams, there's no way I have hundreds of dreams and I might not be able to get to them all.
Can you share your
But-
top 3?
My top 3?
Yeah.
Well, seeing all the 7 continents was part of that, and moving to Sydney was another one. So I ticked off
Done.
2. I ticked off 2. And it's funny how that happens, because when Sarah said to me, "You need to come," and I'm like, "No, I'm really happy to leave that for maybe another 10 years or so." I was not in a hurry to see all the 7 continents, and I didn't really realize until I booked it that I was actually going to tick it off, because of course we were flying into Buenos Aires, and I'd never been there, so that was so exciting as well to kind of see that city, and then Antarctica, and I've been to Africa. So but saying that, I've been to all the continents, but I've certainly not been to all the countries. I certainly haven't been to all the cities. So there's so much to explore.
And something we haven't touched on is status. What does status and airlines mean to you? Are you a status chaser, or are you okay with, do you like the gold one?
So I'm now a lifetime with Qantas, which I'm really grateful for. I spend a lot of time and money on Qantas, so it's very nice to have that. But when I was platinum for a long time, because I flew so much, that was fantastic, because being a foodie and loving coffee, the lounges when you're platinum is so much better than any of the other ones. And Qantas was really, really good at food. So I don't love aeroplane food, but Qantas is really good. And it's funny because Tiffany often say, can you make that Qantas
Oi.
cauliflower?
Can you even make that?
Yeah.
Jeez.
So
Soundbite that one. Didn't
yeah, so it's Neil Perry, so you know, a good chef, and one of my favorite lounges is the Hong Kong one in at a Qantas. I don't know what they call it, but it's where you get in if you are a platinum. So I don't know what it's called now.
It's Qantas operated. It's got a real cool vibe because it's very laid back.
Yeah.
And it's like drinks and a great bar.
Yeah, and always good, like fresh food. So sometimes when you go to lounges, it's very carbs and heavy food. Versus I love Qantas often have really salads and things.
Do you find getting your gold status hard work, or was it just part and parcel of what you had to do in terms of travel?
Well, I wasn't traveling for the getting the
gold status.
Getting that. That was the least on my mind. Once I got to platinum, I loved it because I'm not good, as you probably have got by now. I'm not very patient. I don't like waiting. So when you have a platinum, you get
Jump the queue.
Yeah,
well,
you jump the queue.
This is a really good segue that you're saying that you're not patient. I definitely not picked that at all. So the status thing obviously is not always up in the air. So always business class is about thinking both on the ground and up in the air. So our awesome partners, and thanks for making this podcast, is the All Accor Plus Explorer guys. So part of that membership, we want every guest to go away with a gold status.
Yeah.
So they've empowered us to do that. So we're actually giving you a membership today. So
Aww.
you actually walk out of this door with gold status. So you get a 12-month membership with them, you 2 free nights. And this is something we've learned as well, is that you don't necessarily always have to travel overseas. Like Accor's got so many great properties here, and
and Australia's such an amazing country, and I mean, I lived in Melbourne for 30 years, and when I come to this part of Melbourne, because I didn't live here, I love this part of Melbourne.
So that's the easiest gold status you're ever going to get in your life.
Well,
I think.
I'm
there we
so
go.
grateful. Thank you.
Instant gold status. 2 nights free. So it's staycations around Asia Pacific, or
thank
even
you.
Manly, or.
What's your favourite? Have you got a favourite property so far?
I recently went to Sofitel Adelaide, and that's really good because really easy place to walk around.
Yeah.
But there's a whole bunch of new hotels like Hyde Melbourne.
Yeah.
That actually should try staying there next time.
Yeah.
Hyde Melbourne, great location.
Yeah.
Across 2 tram lines.
Yeah.
And actually in Sydney next
Yeah,
week.
they're just opening their new 25-hour hotel, which is opened in Dubai, which is their new like funky. So that's going to be awesome. We're going to go check out next week. But you also get 30% off all your food up to 10 people. Oh. So we love hosting dinners there. And
fantastic. Thank you.
So there you go.
Well,
keep inspiring that dream life, and take the family and experience a couple of staycations around Asia Pacific, really. So, and then what else is on your bucket list in the next 12 to 18 months from a travel perspective? If you could wave that magic wand, where would you go and spend 72 hours? Where would you go and spend a week?
Oh, one of the things that I have on my list of dreams every year is to see either a new country or a new city. But I never really work out what that is going to be. So I don't have a plan, like I'm going to see a city or a country. So I put that out to the universe to give me a talk somewhere that I haven't been. So funnily, last year I got asked to speak in Seoul in Korea. And I've never been to Seoul, I've never been to Korea. But that didn't work out. Like that didn't happen. So you get asked for a lot of things, and then you depending on
timing doesn't work out.
It works out. So it didn't work out. But then Sarah came to the rescue, and I got Argentina and Antarctica. So tick that off. So for next year, I'm not really quite sure what to do. One thing that I am going to do that is new, but it's not a new country, but it's a new place. I am going to run a retreat in France by someone who just kind of turned up and asked. She's running the retreat. She's a travel person, and she asked if I could do the the wellness and she wants to do a bit of personal development on these kind of tours. She does like food tours, etc. So that's really exciting, and I really want to speak for the $1 Million Table group in the US. So that's on my list as well. So I don't know if I'll get that. I've applied for it. So
you just got to put it out there, because the magic of something happening.
We literally talked about points too, don't we? To the States is actually one of the best routes to fly. So
exactly.
Yeah.
So 204,000 velocity points get your return business class.
Fantastic.
Los Angeles. So when you talked about, are you a spontaneous flyer? If an opportunity came to say, do you want to go here next weekend? Obviously, if you didn't have anything already on, are you spontaneous or are you long-term planner?
Antarctica happened in 72 hours.
So basically on the Friday night, well, Sarah kept saying you should come, and I was like, no, it's not the right time. No, I can't spend that money now. I was like, no, it's not now. And then on Friday, she convinced me to come. And then on Saturday morning, I started to look for flight, but I didn't book it until Sunday night because I was still working out all the things with family, logistics, etc. And on Tuesday morning, I was at the airport.
Oh, wow. That is fast.
So, yeah. And, with the carry-on.
That's fantastic. Spontaneous.
And so I'm definitely spontaneous, but I am also a planner. So I like both. So I love, so my next trip, in terms of overseas, I am going to go back to Sweden for Christmas. So Tiffany really wants to go to the Christmas markets in London. So we're going to do that. And then we are going to go skiing in Norway. So that's the next destination. But these are destinations that is kind of my home country and home
so exotic
area.
For us, but your home.
I know, so I'm really excited. I'm really grateful for it. So, but it's not something new.
Okay, yeah. So we might have something that might be interesting, because we're about to probably put together some more spontaneous trips.
Yeah.
So the beauty about using points is it costs the same number of points, regardless of when you fly.
Yeah.
So if you had the points, we'll ping you a few options and see.
Fantastic. And can I also share something? So I was hosting I was a speaker at a dinner, and it was a room full of CEOs, maybe about 15 people. And I tried to have one, so I was sharing my kind of story. I was booked to speak for them, but my intention for that dinner was to hold one conversation, which is really quite hard when you have 15 CEOs in one room and lots to talk about. And I asked everyone to go around the table asking, what would you do if you knew you couldn't fail, and if you could do, create your dream life, what would that look like for you? And not 100%, but I reckon about 75% of the people there said that they want to spend the winters here, so the summers in Europe. And that's an interesting one because what I love now in especially if you work for yourself, is that you can actually work from anywhere, and then you can escape the footy season or the cold here or whatever you need to escape from, and then spend that in Europe, which I think is really exciting. And I think with what you guys are doing, it's so much more possible if you use your points and your cards and your system. So I thought of you there actually, and I thought you should go in and speak there because so many people wanted to live in Europe for a few months.
We can make it happen because it is just a numbers game.
Yeah.
So you get the numbers, fly on points.
I think the inspiration needs to be there as well. As we've did some research and we just found out that so many Australians have had a bad experience with points, potentially using 400,000 points to fly economy, and they're like, oh, that was a long time to get to that, and I only got an economy seat versus, well, actually it's 200,000 return to LA. So this whole notion of being scared to use points, and I think that's where we at the Flights Club can really sort of unearth the magic. And just like any great accountant or business coach.
Absolutely. As entrepreneurs, like that was the least of my, on my top of my list to work out. So I definitely used all the credit cards and stuff in my first business, because we flew so many people as well. So we might as well kind of get the benefits. But then when it comes to booking, I was like, I just don't have the time to really think about that. So that's why your business is so clever, because if everyone has the points, then at least there is some support to work out what the best options are.
We might have to curate some dream life trips and experiences.
I think so too. Yeah.
Because people just, there's nothing. I was saying to Steve this week is like on a Sunday sitting down, drinking a cup of coffee at a great cafe in Melbourne.
Yeah.
And opening that travel section of the paper and being inspired. And that's where you tend to book. Or even, as Steve said, he's sitting on a cruise ship and booking your next holiday.
My next trip.
Usually that's when it happens. So, yeah, inspiring people to live their dream life on trips and experience. And then Kristina ticks the box because she's running the retreat.
Yeah.
There we go.
Perfect. Let's do something. Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah.
Well, that's about a wrap for today. So we just want to thank you so much for the incredible work that you've done in the past, but the future is bright in regards to just helping so many people. And I've witnessed it firsthand in like unlocking people's potential, or just getting people to think differently, more colourful, and to bounce back from what some people would be extremely hard. And what you've done, and just full of positivity and optimism, and we just need more Kristinas in the world. So thanks very much from myself.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I do believe, even if we do get to live a long life is short. So I just want to make the most of it. I want to see as much as I possibly can and have as much fun. And I'm super excited to be flying to Fiji soon.
I know, just around the corner.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me.
See you there.
See you there.